The Bell family never saw it coming. What started as whispers in the dark turned into one of the most infamous hauntings in American history. The BellWitch, a name cursed in Tennessee folklore, was born from a tale of betrayal, vengeance, and an evil that refused to die. In the early 1800s, John Bell was a prosperous farmer in the quiet town of Adams, Tennessee. A man of means and reputation, he was respected by his peers, yet not all who knew him were friends. He had enemies, and none more dangerous than Kate Batts, a woman spoken of only in hushed tones, her name tangled in whispers of the occult. The townsfolk called her eccentric, but some claimed she was more than that. They said she had a gift, an unnatural connection to the unseen, that she could summon the wind to wail through the trees and make the flames of a hearth dance without touch. No one knew for sure. Few dared to ask. When Bell and Batts clashed over a bitter land dispute, he dismissed her as nothing more than a madwoman. He laughed at her fury, at her wild eyes that gleamed with something beyond mere anger. But he did not see what others saw, the way shadows seemed to cling to her, the way the air around her felt colder, heavier, wrong. Then came the curse. "John Bell," she hissed before the gathered townsfolk, her voice like rust scraping over stone. Her eyes burned with an eerie light. "You and your bloodline will suffer. No peace in life, no rest in death. The darkness comes for you." The crowd shifted uneasily, some murmuring prayers under their breath, others shaking their heads. Bell scoffed, dismissing her words as nothing more than the ramblings of a bitter woman. A curse, nonsense. But that night, as he sat by the fire, the wind outside howling like a wounded beast, he heard it. A knock at the door, a single sharp rap against the wood. He rose, lantern in hand, and opened it. No one was there. The cold night air rushed in, carrying with it a sound, a whisper, low and taunting. It wrapped around him like unseen fingers, raising the hairs on his neck. Then came another knock, and another, louder, closer, as if something just beyond the threshold was waiting. That was the night John Bell stopped laughing. It was the night the haunting began. The torment began in whispers. At first, the Bell children would wake in the dead of night to the sound of faint murmurs, voices so soft they could have been the wind. But the wind did not weave words, nor did it slither through the walls like a chorus of unseen mouths. The voices came from nowhere and everywhere at once, whispering, giggling, muttering in tones just low enough to be indecipherable. Then came the scratching, soft at first, like the scuttling of rats beneath the floorboards. But there were no rats. The sound grew, shifting into something deliberate. Something long, jagged nails raking the walls, clawing at the wooden beams, creeping closer to their beds. Then came the breathing, shallow, ragged, a presence standing just beyond the edge of candlelight, just beyond the safety of reason. Something exhaled into the darkness, slow and patient, as though savoring its watch over the terrified family. The nights turned violent. Blankets were yanked from beds, revealing trembling bodies beneath. Doors slammed with a force that rattled the house, chairs scraped across the floor on their own. And then the hands, cold, unseen hands that yanked hair, pinched skin, and shoved with a strength beyond human. Betsy Bell suffered the worst. The youngest daughter, once full of life, became a shell of herself. She awoke with bruises in the shape of fingers wrapped around her wrists, as though something had held her down in the night. Scratches marred her arms, welts appearing on her skin as if clawed by something unseen. But the worst was the voice, the guttural, mocking voice that rasped in her ear as she lay paralyzed in bed. It called itself Kate. John Bell, once a strong, proud man, withered under the torment. His shoulders hunched, his breath grew weak, his hands trembled, his skin paling as though something was leeching the very life from him. The whispers grew bolder, louder, turning to shouts, then to screams. Horrible, shrieking howls that rattled the windows and filled the house with a rage so thick it choked the air. And then the witch made a promise. "I will be there when you die." December 1820. The Bell family awoke to silence, an unfamiliar, dreadful silence. They found John Bell in his bed, convulsing, his body writhing as if in the grip of some unseen force. His face was twisted in terror, mouth open in a scream that never left his lips. His eyes, wide and unblinking, saw something in the shadows, something only he could see. On the bedside table sat a vial. The liquid inside was thick and black as ink, a substance no one had ever seen before. The room was filled with a sickening, rotting smell. The entity cackled, its voice crackling like fire through the air. I gave him his medicine. Desperate to understand, the family forced a few drops down the throat of the household cat. It convulsed instantly, its body seizing before it lay still, its lifeless eyes staring into nothing. The BellWitch had made good on her promise. John Bell's funeral was the largest Adams had ever seen. The town gathered in grief, yet even in death, the torment did not end. As the casket was lowered into the ground, the witch sang. Her voice slithered through the trees, an eerie, grotesque hymn, a song of mockery that sent shivers through every grieving soul in attendance. It was not a song of mourning, it was a song of triumph. And then, just as suddenly as she came, she was gone. But the Bell family never forgot, and neither did history. The BellWitch promised to return in 7 years. And she did. The Bell family reported strange occurrences, though never as intense as before, but some say she never truly left. To this day, visitors to the BellWitch cave hear whispers, feel cold hands graze their skin, and see shadows that move on their own. Many believe Kate Batt's curse was never just for the Bells, it was for anyone who dared to doubt her power. And so, the legend of the BellWitch lives on. Perhaps she waits in the dark, her voice just beyond the edge of hearing, whispering to those who dare to listen. Are you next?